Originally, I was unsure of how long I wanted to make this video, as I'm probably going to end up making a video for almost every bullet point and section in this episode 4 info page on PSO2.com. That being said, I've decided the best way to go about this is to just run down the list and briefly explain each topic, and then how it will impact how you currently interact with the game. First off, with the Steam launch, PSO2 will be able to be accessed by over 30 more countries than before, though some are still excluded for various reasons, and hopefully that will change more over time. At the moment, I do not currently have a list of all the available countries either, but you can check yourself by going to the PSO2 page on Steam. Next, the level cap will be raised into 80, and that means we will have another 5 skill points to mess around with, as well as each class getting access to a new skill at level 80 that's a straight 5% damage bonus when maxed at level 5. However, due to limited skill points, some classes still may not want to take these yet, but don't worry, I'll have a video out by episode 4 explaining the best way to spend your new skill points on every class. Next up, PA and Tech discs will go up to level 17 now, and that's pretty straightforward. There's then the emergence of the Battle Arena for PvP, and some universal or cross-ship blocks for the Battle Arena and Challenge quests. Though while they are being called universal ships on NA, unless they changed it, it's essentially just a shared cross-ship block. And all that means is we will have the option to join up with others from different ships on these shared blocks, and we can then play PvP or Challenge mode together. This also means you can meet up with others you might know from other ships too. But before moving on from this, something to keep in mind is that through the Battle Arena, you can accumulate Battle Coin, and then exchange that for up to 100 Star Gems per week, or you can also choose to use your Battle Coin on other stuff in the limited exchange there too. Next, a great quality of life improvement that we've all been asking for that we're finally getting is a real friends list that's not tied to Xbox Live. So hopefully adding someone will be a lot easier going forward. Now, for those who already have a bunch of characters, you'll now be able to have up to 20 with episode 4, so have fun with that. As far as the new arks missions are concerned, they're probably going to be the ones that reward bonus keys for the bonus quests, which are also new. And they are essentially a quick solo quest that spawns lots of weak mobs and some bosses at the end that give big chunks of XP. Do be careful though, as if NA is anything like JP, some of these bonus quest keys do expire after a certain date. And you can check this in the information pop-up when selecting the key in your inventory or storage. There's then new seasonal events, but I'm not sure if that's specific to episode 4 or not. Either way, I guess we'll have to just wait and see. Now for alliances, you'll have a few more options now on how your alliance quarters can look. And for those who are interested, after doing certain client orders, you'll be able to add characters from the PSO2 anime right to your party in the form of an NPC. Next, there will be a lot more titles to learn, and while a lot of episode 4 and 5 is blurred together in my mind, there will be a lot of different titles you will need in the future to gain certain items to upgrade weapons at Zeeg. But I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Just remember, you can get some pretty good stuff from titles, and to check the title counter periodically to see if you have any new ones to pick up. As far as new enemies, quest types, and areas are concerned, this is about us getting access to planet Earth, which has the Tokyo and Las Vegas maps on it. Furthermore, you'll be able to do a new type of quest called a Ridroid or Rideroid quest, which if I had to sum it up as easily as possible, it's just like the VR training UQ, but instead of running around, you're actually flying around on a small craft instead. There's then a few more great quality of life improvements, the first of which is being able to finally preview items in the Fresh Finds shop, and the second would be the ability to automatically send materials to your storage. And last for this list, we're getting Season 6 of the Mission Pass. Moving on to, in my opinion, the biggest and most important change we'll be getting access to is crafting. Now, I already have a whole crafting video out that goes over everything in this list, so feel free to check that out, but just keep in mind that some terms may change. Anyways, I will also be breaking down each of these topics into their own video as well, but for now, let me just give you an idea of what each entails. Starting with the best, we'll have the ability to craft, or better known as customized PAs and techs. For PAs, you will only really be able to craft 2 of the 11 PAs each weapon has. And to be clear about that, you don't get to choose. There's just specific PAs that can be crafted while most cannot. Anyways, when customizing PAs, their animation and modifiers will change. And PAs and techs like this were called Type 0s on JP, but I could not find any info on what they may be called on our version yet, but it may be the same. Now when customizing techs, a select few of them will get the Type 0 feature as well, but just like PAs, most will not. However, even so, every tech can still be customized. Therefore, it can have the chance of increasing its damage, its number of hits, its charge times, its range, and much more. As far as actually going about crafting these, it's actually really simple. All you need is some PA fragments for the PA or tech type that you want to craft, and a little bit of Meseta, and you're good to go. And this will lead us right into our next part, desynthesis, as this breaks down items for materials. And in this case, level 11 and higher discs can be broken down for PA fragments. Melee PAs give melee fragments, ranged give ranged fragments, and tech discs give tech fragments. And while we're still on the subject of desynthesis, it can be used to break down other stuff like weapons and units for materials as well. But you might not need this as much until later on. But stepping back for a second, once crafting is out, you'll start to get daily crafting orders from NPCs, and these will reward you with materials and other stuff you might need for crafting. On top of that, you'll also be able to receive and order stuff from other players as well. And this is really big because at the beginning, you will only have so many crafting lines available. So you will likely need to rely on others to help you craft what you may need when yours is on cooldown. And lastly, we have equipment extension, and I'm really only mentioning it because it was on the list here, but essentially it lets you overwrite existing stats of units to get better stats. But depending on what content we get and how fast, this may not see too much use at all. And that's really as far as I wanted to get with crafting today, as all you really need to know to start out with is how to desynthesize and craft your PAs and techs. Anything after that will really need its own video to explain more. Moving on, there's a few more things we can mention before wrapping up. The first of which will be that there will be new Rising Weapon Badges, in the form of Rising Weapon Badge 3s. And these will likely just be another catch-up mechanic, and can be found in the Weapon Badge Exchange Shop upstairs in the shop area. Though when they do release, you might want to take a quick look at them to see if they have any good augments on them natively. There will then be a new collection folder coming out, and it looks like it has Revulsio in it. So that's already an upgrade from what we had before. And lastly, we'll be getting more story too, and that will involve Earth. And as always, it's going to be a good idea to do the story quests because of their rewards and title rewards. And that's about it for what we're getting in episode 4. There's so much more I could have gotten into, but I'd rather keep it as is and instead focus on breaking down everything I've mentioned here today into much more detail in their own respective videos. So for now, I hope this gave everyone a better idea of what to expect in episode 4. And until then, take care.